In today's halacha, we're going to discuss the halachas and minhagim related to the minhag of Kaparos. The reason why we're discussing this already now is because many communities are accustomed to already begin Kaparos at this time and not wait until Erev Yom Kippur. The minhag of Kaparos is a very old Jewish custom dated hundreds of years back, close to 1,000 years back in the times of the Go'enim. So is testified in the Ramah and other Poskim, and it's brought down also in Rishonim. The Rashba testifies that this minhag was testified on by Rav Hai Gaon, which was one of the Go'enim in Babylon, in Bavel. It was mainly an Ashkenazi custom, but did spread to certain Sephardi communities. The Rashba, when he writes about this custom in Shuvah 395, he actually speaks derogatorily of it, that he says that when he became Rav in his community, he abolished this custom and he stopped them from doing it. As well, the Orchos Chaim, in the name of the Ramban, also writes against the custom, and the Mechaber Shulchanaruchharav, based on their rules that one should nullify the custom of Kaparos and not fulfill it. However, the Ramah defends the custom and says it's based on Go'enim and previous generations, and it's forbidden to swerve from this custom. The Alter Rebbe in the Shulchanaruch records this ruling of the Ramah and records the ruling and the minhag of Kaparos and omits completely the opposing opinion of the Mechaber. Practically, the Arizal was very careful about this minhag, as brought in Shar HaKavanis and Kaf HaChaim, and therefore so too today, this custom has spread even amongst Sephardi Jewry, and it is also written of in the Maral and other Sifrei Kabbalah, and therefore it is today a world Jewry custom and not specifically followed only by Ashkenazim. How many chickens is one to take? So in the Shulchan Aruch there is a machlekes brought in Poskim regarding if one should take one chicken, one male and one female per family, or you have to take one chicken per person, a male for every male and a female for every female. In the Shulchan Aruch, the Alter Rebbe records both customs, the former being of the Levush and the latter being of the Arizal and the Shlah, brought in the Magen Avraham. And he does not arbitrate how one should follow. However, in the Siddur, the Alter Rebbe rules, like the Arizal and Shlah, that one should take a chicken for each family member, a male chicken for a male, and a female chicken for a female, as well for a pregnant woman, 2 females and 1 male. So that's a practical Chabad custom that we take 1 chicken per family member based on gender. And for a pregnant woman, we take 2 females and 1 male. If one cannot afford this amount of chickens, then the Matei Ephraim brings that one can suffice with the other opinion brought in the Alter Rebbe, which is to take 1 male and 1 female only for the entire family itself. It's interesting to note that one is, although not allowed to use Meiser for Kaparos, as it is a minhag Yisrael that you have to do, nevertheless, one may use Meiser money for the extra Kaparos. So if one can only afford 1 chicken, male and female, for his family, he can use Meiser money to purchase the superfluous chickens so he can fulfill the minhag of the Arizal and Alter Rebbe and the Siddur to have 1 chicken per person. In a case that a woman used a male chicken or a man used a female chicken, do they fulfill the obligation? The Eshel Avram of Buchach brings down this question and writes that they fulfill the obligation and there's no need to ask for a refund or for another chicken. If a woman is pregnant with twins, the Rebbe discussed this question and did not give a final ruling of how many she should take. There are poskim of today that write that she should take 5 chickens. If a woman gave birth after Kaparos was done to her, before Yom Kippur, some poskim say that there's reason to say that she should require another Kaparos to be done on that child. However, practically, this is not necessary. Regarding if an ultrasound has already revealed the gender of the fetus, some poskim say that one may follow that gender and then only use 2 chickens, 1 female and 1 based on the gender. However, other poskim say that one should not consider it conclusive. Regarding a pregnant woman that we said, the Chatchil, the minhag is to take 3 chickens, 2 female, 1 male, this is only a woman that's after 40 days of conception. However, prior to 40 days, there is no need for a woman to take 3 chickens if she's not halachically yet considered pregnant. The color of the chicken. The Alter Rebbe writes in Shulchanaruch that one is to take a white chicken in light of the verse, your sins are like red, I will whiten them like snow. Nevertheless, the Alter Rebbe adds that one may not specifically search for a white chicken, as this was the practice of the Amorites, the idol worshippers. They would search for white chickens to sacrifice to idols. And since we cannot resemble the statues of Goyim, therefore, if a white chicken is readily available, use it. If it's not, don't search for it. In a case that there are no chickens available, as in certain communities that they do not have chickens for Kaparos, then ideally, the Alter Rebbe writes that other animals are to be used for Kaparos. It's brought down in certain places that one can even use fish. The Mishnah Berurah brings it down. Nonetheless, practically the custom is brought in another Mishnah Berurah that if there aren't chickens available, then we use money for Kaparos. What is the Kaparos process that's done with a chicken? So one holds a chicken and says the paragraph beginning B'nei Adam that's printed in the Siddur. When one reaches the paragraph of Zeh Chalifasi, he encircles the chicken around his head 3 times. The above paragraph being from B'nei Adam is then repeated another 2 times, and thus we encircle the chicken around the head a total of 9 times. This is based on the ruling of the Alter Rebbe in the Siddur and in Sefer, as explained in Sefer HaMinhagim. In the Shulchan Aruch, however, it only states that we put it around the head 3 times. When should the ceremony be done? So ideally, it is to be done on Erev Yom Kippur towards dawn, which is called Ashnuras HaBoker. So is brought in the Siddur of the Alter Rebbe and the Priyei Chaim of the Arizal. Nonetheless, if doing so on Erev Yom Kippur will cause hassle to the sheikhim and will cause a lot of chickens to come treifers and avelos chas v'shalom, then it is proper to do kaparos a few days earlier, and so writes the Mishnah Berurah in chapter 605, Sif Katan Beis, that one should do it a few days earlier, and there's no hesitation in doing so. It's brought down in the Mati Ephraim that it's customary to go to a mikvah prior to performing kaparos. What is done with the chicken after the ceremony? So after the ceremony, it says in Shulchan Aruch that one should do smicha, which is to lean on the head of the chicken. This is what it says in the Shulchan Aruch. In the Siddur, the Alter Rebbe omits this detail, and it's brought down in the Shara Kailo that the reason of this omission is because we don't hold of it. Practically, however one wants to understand, the custom today is not to do smicha on the chicken. It is, however, recorded in the Rishimus Hayoman that the Rebbe Rashab would perform smicha after he finished kaparos. However, I have never seen this done. After the shechting, the blood is covered. This mitzvah belongs to the sheikhid. It's a mitzvah in a Torah called Kisei Hadam, and it's the sheikhid's mitzvah. And nonetheless, he is allowed to honor the person who bought the chicken with the mitzvah of covering the blood in his place. The sheikhid has to prepare a little bit of earth, dust, or straw on the bottom, have the blood spill in it, and then the person says the bracha al kisui dam be'ofor, and he covers it with the earth, and by doing so fulfills the mitzvah. Ideally, the chicken is to be donated to the poor, although the Alter Rebbe writes that it's better to take the chicken home and eat it, and have the money and redeem the money worth of this chicken, and use that money to charity to give to the poor, in order so the poor don't have to eat the chicken that were used for kaparos. Practically today, stock organizations take the chickens and give them out to poor families. Must one first perform kaparos on himself prior to doing so on others? So the answer is that this is not a necessity, although the Mati Ephraim does bring down that if it is possible, then one should do so first on himself before he does kaparos on another person. Does it make a difference as to which direction one swerves the chicken around the head? The answer is that this matter is not discussed in Paiskim, and therefore it makes no difference as to which way one does so. If the chicken came out in a vela, must he redo kaparos? The answer is yes. This is brought down also in the Shara Kailo, that if the shechita is invalid, the whole purpose of kaparos is the shechita. And if the shechita was invalid, then the kaparos is invalid and it should be redone. If, however, the shechita was valid, however, the chicken was found to be a treifa, then he does not have to redo kaparos. So rules the Shara HaKoil. Regarding the Nusach HaKaparos for women, so the Shara HaKoil writes that the Alter Rebbe purposely omitted the change of Nuschais, and that one should say the same Nusach for men and women. Nevertheless, there are women that are accustomed to change the Nusach to say it in a female tense when doing it for themselves. The custom of Beis Harav by Kaparos, it's interesting that in the Rebbe's household, besides for doing when they would do the Kaparos, they would perform a sign of the 4 death penalties on the chicken. So they would touch it with their foot slightly to do skila. They would touch the neck to perform the penalty of chenek. They would burn a small part of the feather to do sreifa. The Shara Koil, however, brings down that the fact that the Alter Rebbe did not record these practices is because he negates doing them, and this is certainly not a Hirah l'Rabbin and was followed only by the Rabbein.